Hey, everybody, it's Everett with Ohio for Freedom, the program that is focused for the foreseeable future on talking about things in the church that shouldn't be in the church, things that we don't want to be talking about forever. So let's get them talked out, talked through, talked behind us so we can get on to bigger and better things. But we're not there yet because tonight we are going to talk about this crazy, I don't even know what it is. I thought Gone with the Wind was a long movie. I thought that the Deer Hunter, I don't know if I ever saw the Deer. What's a movie that like lasts a week? And that's what Heather Schott came out with the Michael Brown video where he's telling his story. And out of the 3.5 hours, I think he talks a total of about 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Anyway, I have some help tonight with some brains that are far advanced beyond my feeble abilities. I will be joined in just a moment by Londa Parker, who knows Michael Brown personally and has a lot of firsthand knowledge and experience. She has her own podcast, Uncaged, which is just getting started, and will also be joined by the tough, sharp, and always vigilant legal mind of Vanessa Johnson. I just want to say before we get any further, and this same thing, so please type in, I can hear. StreamYard, they've been doing this lately. I've said this like 4 episodes. If you can hear, if you would please type in, I can hear, shut up already, we can hear. I'd appreciate it. And what I'm going to do real quick, y'all, is play just a short little bit of something I'd like to ask you to pay attention to, and then we're going to get started. Here it is. I think here it is.
And we had her in drama, like when she was 9, 10, 11, 12, like early before we came here, several years. And she was always in kids choir, her thing was drama, not drama, the arts. I don't want to say drama, but the arts, singing, playing piano. And there was nothing for her this year in that aspect. Like there was no, for her to and she's in 10th grade this year, we only have her a couple more years in school. So we felt like we needed to really get her in some place where she can really thrive, as far as where God has gifted her.
Okay.
So that was part of it.
I'm looking at $25 million in classroom facilities and labs. Not a gravel parking lot and mobile classrooms.
Okay, I'm going to jump out of that. Folks, you really, if you haven't yet, you want to head over to my very, very, very good friend, Robin Torgrimson's program, Mega Maniac. She is a trooper. She has been a trooper. She just keeps bringing the truth, and more people come forward. And you heard the voice of General Rod Parsley berating parents because they put their kid first. They put their child first. They didn't want their child to, for her education to suffer simply because they were employed by World Harvest Church. And that latest interview of Mega Maniac is absolutely blowing up, and it needs to. Maybe the finest piece that she's done. And I just want to really encourage you to go over there. Okay, so for tonight, I'm going to bring on my 2 guests right now. And if they will be on their best behavior, we'll get started. Vanessa and Londa, are we all going to be on our best behavior tonight?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I want to read a scripture, if that is okay. And I just, this could possibly be, but I'm going to go there. This is 1 Peter 3. Wives, in the same way, submit yourselves to your husbands, so that even if they refuse to believe the word, they will be won over without words by the behavior of their wives. Wives can win people over by their behavior, folks. That's what the scripture just said. When they see your pure and reverent demeanor, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair or gold or jewelry or fine clothes, but from the inner disposition of your heart, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in God's sight. I just want us to have that in mind as we go forward. It's just, sometimes you can win people just by the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, and you're probably already figuring out. And the material that we're going to look at, for me personally, I ain't seeing it, but I've done all the talking for 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Vanessa, where should we start?
Let's start with what, Londa, can you hear? Can you hear me?
Londa, can you hear? Oh, we're
Can you
live
hear
now.
me?
We hear you.
I can't hear you
Yes.
at all.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my goodness. And so Vanessa, you're not having any trouble?
No, I can hear both of you guys.
How do we handle
No.
this? How do we handle this?
All right.
I don't want to bail on the program and I don't want to bail on Londa, so we got to think here for a moment.
Right. It was working a minute ago.
Yep. And you still can't hear Londa. Oh my. Do me a favor. Kick yourself out and come back in. And I'll type that in the private chat. Hi folks, how you doing? We're having a live program here. Oh, she just did.
She did. Okay.
Okay.
Once she comes back in and can hear us, I think we should start with the woman of the hour, Heather
Yeah.
Shaw.
Okay, that's what we'll do. That's
But
what we'll do.
You know, when you
Yeah.
get that video, and I listened to that clip, but let's see if Londa can hear.
It's tough.
Can't hear us, huh?
She can't hear us. Is there a let me think. Are you opening another browser or something like that? She can't hear my question.
Yeah.
Are you other? Well, folks, welcome to live. Oh my. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. But okay. Let me ask you the question. Vanessa, what does legal tell us to do?
I don't have for tech, so yeah. Okay, so she kicked herself out.
She kicked herself out. Let me do this. Let me play the clip that will open this up, and that will keep the program rolling, and we'll see how that goes. How is that? Okay. So I think I've got it queued to we're about where we want to be.
We just had the Take It Down Act signed for revenge porn and things that are going on. There's no prosecutions in this country of real victims. So this, I know this is a segment too, but it is, we are so off base.
Yes, we are.
To touch the nerve on what Satan is truly doing in our culture. And he loves this. He loves
Yes, he
this.
does. If you want to be an advocate, then go be an advocate for a real victim of sexual abuse.
I mean, they know it, Pastor Heather.
But all I know is,
if you want to be an advocate, go be an advocate for a real victim of sexual abuse, is what she said. You can hear okay, Londa? Okay. You're hearing okay.
But now I can't hear her.
Now I can't hear her. Now wait. Oh my goodness. This isn't supposed to happen on live on a live here.
So
Can you say something? Londa, say something so we know we have you. We got 264 people on the live stream. We don't want to disappoint them.
Okay.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Is it those headphones? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm fixing it.
Okay, we
Oh,
can.
now we hear her. We hear her fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Folks, bear with us. We'll get this. I'm pretty confident.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear us okay?
Okay, I can hear you.
Perfect.
All right. Now she can hear. Thank you.
Excellent.
Okay. Folks, there is so much going in so many different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about this interview, but I hadn't had a chance to go through all 3.5 hours of it. And in our prayer group on Saturday morning, someone mentioned that she had made this comment that if you want to be an advocate, go advocate for a real victim. And when I actually pulled it up, and it literally was, I didn't know where it was, the first place on there, because I'm just, let's start about halfway through, and bam, it played right there. I couldn't believe it. My jaw was on the ground. I'm like, what is going on with this woman? But who wants to go first? Anybody? Vanessa, I know your mic is working, and we'll get to Londa. What do you make of her making a comment like that?
I was floored. I could not believe she said that. I mean, there's no words. And first off, right before she said that, what Jocko said was there is no prosecution in this country of real victims. Did you hear him say that?
I did.
That's what he said. There is no prosecution in this country of real victims. And that would fly in the face, not only of victims, but investigators, law enforcement, prosecutors, anybody that's working on advocating for bringing to justice the perpetrators who have committed crimes against children or others that involved SA. That was it. There's no words. It was beyond over the top. I couldn't believe it. I would be so embarrassed. I would be editing that out. But no, that video is still out there, and it's more than a slap in the face to victims.
Yeah. And I have that was the very end of that clip that we'll hopefully get to a little bit later. We can back it up some and hear him say that. But Londa, to me, it sure sounded like Heather sure doesn't think that Sarah is a victim. Is that what she was saying there?
That's exactly what she was saying. And what's frustrating to me about that is she's never met Sarah. She's never spoken to Sarah. She doesn't know anything about Sarah besides what Michael Brown has told her. I know Sarah, and she's a dear friend of mine. And I knew Sarah all those years ago also. I was one of the witnesses to what was going on. So to say that is completely disrespectful. It's minimizing what she went through, and just it was just so disgusting, and it was hurtful. You know, as I was listening to it, I was in tears. I was mad, and I was in tears because I know Sarah, and I know also the married woman who's now deceased that they were talking about. And so for me, I just thought, how dare you? You have never even met this girl. You have not. Sarah would be glad to speak to Heather, actually, but no one reached out to Sarah. So yeah, that's very, very frustrating. And it was just disgusting on their part.
What I've done is the tone of this thing gets set up, pretty early on. I've got about 4 quick clips that I'd kind of like us to move through kind of quickly. And they're all bizarre, but they happen right away. And so let me just kind of work through it like this. And here, this was probably about 3 minutes into this video.
All I know is people reached out to her, people who had an agenda against me. I know.
Wait a minute. Wait, this I've made my little excuse about Windows 11, folks. We're not going to use Pentecostal cliches. The devil's fighting us. No, here we go. Here we go.
A lot of people do podcasts like this to build their empire, their own following, even though we are supposed to build a following for Christ, build their own fame and fortune through clicks and views, pretending that they're taking the cutting edge position, keeping the whole body of Christ in order in their self-righteousness, lacking true authority, and deceived by their purchased influence when all they're doing is stroking their ego and dividing the church in the meantime. So today, let me make it very clear. I am doing this podcast because I have a personal relationship with Dr. Brown, my husband and I, for over 10 years.
We are, by the way, using fair usage on these clips. I'll go in reverse order this time. Londa, you want to react to that? She's taking a swing at all these podcasts.
Let me be very clear. I have a personal relationship with Michael Brown. That goes back almost 30 years. So that's pretty much my response to that.
Vanessa.
But she's making it quite clear that she's biased. I mean, to say that and to think that the masses are going to, this is going to be something really interesting to hear because you're going to have an unbiased opinion. She's telling us she's absolutely
biased.
I am here because I have a personal relationship. Me and my husband have a personal relationship with Michael Brown. That's why I'm here. It's fueled by, they feel as though they have to defend him. And you probably heard this too, that people that are in the report, that Ron Cantor's report, they say that what Michael Brown would do is he would try to get ahead of it, and he would, try to contact people to try to see if they would stay on his side. And especially even Ron Cantrey's like, yeah, I would love to, but I need to know the facts first. And so that's clearly, they took it hook, line, and sinker. You know, that's what they did. They're like, hey, you're calling us. He already worked there, right? He was already working there
Yeah.
as one of the teachers there. And of course they were going to do that. So, you know, it's just, it's the tone is horrible, but the demeanor is worse. And it's the in your face, and you need to listen to me. I mean, that it's going to turn people off in a way.
She takes a swipe at podcasters. Vanessa, you're a podcaster, correct?
I think so.
And Londa's gotten into the fray with the pod, but what is she doing? Am I missing something, or is Miss Heather speaking from the platform of a drum roll, please,
Podcaster?
Yeah.
So who are you talking to, sweet cheeks? And then did you notice she says this thing with no authority?
Right.
Oh,
They can't stand the fact that people like no-name people like me are coming up. They probably don't know who I am. I mean, I have such a small platform, but I talk about this because I went through that video and it took me a long time. And I did address this. They are so offended with the fact that people would even listen to somebody that has a difference of opinion than them. That's what this is. You know, they're talking about, remember, we talk about this all the time. People say, oh, you're bitter, you're jealous, you have Jezebel, you were hurt by the church. They're hurt by the fact that people are not just listening to them anymore. And it's such a struggle. It is such a battle. And it's going to continue with the friction because they're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. So let's see what God does with this.
Yeah.
I just like to say authority. I don't know about y'all, but my authority comes from the fact that I'm a human being on the planet in America. I don't have to ask your permission, Heather. Okay. And can I just get one thing out of the way? Just because, folks, and I'm going to ask everybody to pray for me. I've already mentioned this to both Londa and to Vanessa. I'm just being honest. I don't like this woman. Forget it. Forget the fact that we don't agree. Yeah. I just personally find this woman mean, caustic, bombastic. I don't know. Is there bombastical? She's just over. Take the meek and quiet spirit thing. I guess she never, I don't know. But I'm being honest. I don't like her. There's nothing attractive about this woman to me as far as her demeanor, her personality, anything like that. I wouldn't want to be in this. I'm just being honest. I just wouldn't. And working with, no. Okay. Let them their cats out of the bag. Let's go to this next one here. And I'll let this speak for, to me, it seems like she just thinks that whatever trauma you've been through, you just press pause and say a Hail Mary and it's all over. Here we go.
Warning that I want to bring as you listen today. If you have gone through real sexual abuse in your life and have not fully gone through a healing process where Jesus has fully made you new, which Jesus makes us new. 2 Corinthians 5:17, where the old is gone and the new is come. He makes us into a new creation. So if you've been sexually abused, I'm pausing here to let you know, finish that healing process, invite Jesus in, and he will make you new. But I want you to know that you will naturally lean towards not believing a man that you do not even know. You will distrust him because of the trauma that you previously endured. If you were sexually abused or a loved one of someone that was sexually abused, in just a second, I want you to hit pause on this video.
I'm going to just do this because I'm really watching fair usage and that we're making commentary. And these guys copyright struck Brother John. But Vanessa, you want to chime in so far? There's a little bit more of this that we'll get to, but can you?
You know, you've got to really pay attention to words. She's choosing her words and making sure that those daggers are out there. She starts it out with, if you are a real SA victim, a real one, as opposed to a fake one. It's that underlying theme, you know, that leads up. And I don't remember in the chronology if what you just played is before or after when she proclaims, you know, about the being an advocate for real victims. But
this is about 5 minutes in. This one that you just heard is about 5 minutes in. It's very early.
you know, if you're a storyteller, if you know, obviously she's a preacher, this is what you do. You weave that in. That's her theme. The theme is what she's talking about here. The people that are allegedly accusers of Michael Brown are fake victims. They're not true victims.
You're right. She's already setting up that what happened with Sarah is not real. I mean, she's doing that from the get-go. She's setting it up to already have you leaning that direction, that it's not real. So, yeah.
And then if you have been, sexually, so I'm assuming that would include the R word and any other kind of word, but not to worry because, let me say this, that she said, Jesus, you're a new creation. What, again, Heather, hello, newsflash. We're talking about things that happened to someone after they were already a new creation.
Yes.
So are you saying that once somebody's a new creation in Christ, that they can never be hurt or never be damaged? Because if you are, you're crazy. You're crazy. Let me play a little bit more of this. And this is, here we go.
I want you to pray and ask God to renew your mind and to heal your heart. Ask God to speak to you during this podcast and invite the Holy Spirit to give you wisdom and discernment so that you can hear and see clearly. Right now would be that time to hit pause and to pray and ask the Lord for that healing.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
All right. Remember I said this about the tone, and I don't know if either one of you know, I have no idea, but in Bible school, do they have, seminary Bible school, do they have a class on your tone? I mean, we're taught that in law school, not a class on that, but there's clinics that we have to go through because if you're counseling somebody, you have to learn how to deal with certain people and to take an appropriate tone. I would just assume that if I was going to be a pastor and I'm going to Bible school, that you understand the tone, the proper tone. And even if you don't, maybe it's inherent that people would know that, but she just has such a harsh tone.
I don't like her. I don't like her. Okay, well then before we move on from this, prophetess Quenisha says that's not the Holy Spirit speaking through her. Amen. But she was just saying, if you are a real victim of, and I don't want to get stricken here, abuse, what kind of abuse we're talking about. And then she says, ask for healing and just hit pause. So what, so what tell me if I'm hearing this wrong, because it sounds to me like she says, if you have been the R word, if you've been any other version of the SA word, would you please hurry up? We got to be somewhere. We'll wait for you. It's like when it's like, you know what it sounds like? Gosh, I can't believe I'm saying this and I'm talking more than I want to talk. I had 4 brothers. We were all within 5 years of age. And when we'd take family vacations, every once in a while, your little brother would have to go to the restroom 5 minutes after you just got on the highway. So what do? Is like, hurry up, hurry. She sounds like that. Hurry up and heal, would you, buddy?
Right.
Come on, suck it up, buttercup. Hit that pause button, pray that prayer, get healed, because we got to do stuff.
And if you're not healed yet, you can't have an opinion about this.
Great point.
Hello.
Great point.
Hello. She is really caustic, caustic. And I think I should have eaten a steak. I should have ate a steak before we did this. Okay, wait. But here's the thing. These people are absolutely, completely trustworthy because of certain practices that they engage in on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Here we go.
Dr. Michael Brown said to me when I had the first convo with him about the details of this story, he said, Heather and Landon.
Londa, what is a convo, by the way? What is a convo?
It's a hip conversation.
We're settling the West, and they'd all jump in their convos. And I'm sorry, what is a convo?
It's a very hip conversation.
Oh,
it's cool. She's cool. She's very cool.
Yeah, she's very cool. Okay, yeah, cool when you scratch them fingernails on that chalkboard.
Go and ask the Lord if I am lying. Go and ask him if I'm not trustworthy, and whatever you hear from the Lord and decide, I will be okay with. This was a bold statement, and it was a powerful moment for me personally, because he knows that we seek God and his voice in everything. We hear his voice, we know his voice, we obey his voice. And he knew this and pushed us to go and ask God about him. We did, and Dr. Michael Brown, we stand with you.
So her and her has convo. Okay. Her and her husband, they seek his voice, the Lord's voice. They hear his voice. They know his voice. They never, ever, ever miss the voice of God. Ever. So that's pretty powerful. So if Michael Brown said, ask if I'm telling you the truth, I mean, Vanessa, wouldn't that just eliminate the need for lawyers and judges and courts and prosecutors and all of that?
And it's very consistent with their attitude of, I'm on this platform, I have this platform, you listen to me, and everything I say is true, and don't you dare challenge me. Because she set it up. That's what she did. She set it up, because that's what people do, right? We hear it from Patricia King. We hear, thus saith the Lord. God told me this. And then, unfortunately, there are people that continue to believe this. Well, that's how she set this up. And that's how she did it. He told us, we went to him, we hear his voice, we know his voice, we obey his voice, and we are here today standing with you, Michael Brown.
It kind of sounds like she's saying he asked us to be the voice of God to him.
How about that?
Londa, I mean, I just, when I'm hearing this, they're like bragging. Here's the thing. I went over this in the last program that I did. When this is conceit and arrogance on steroids. And I'm sorry, is this, I don't know. That's really unappealing when a man does that. But when a woman does it, it's just as bad, if not worse, isn't it?
It's bad. And, you know, as I'm listening to her and the way she sounds, what I feel about it is that he has friends that have been his friends for 40 years. Ron Cantor had known him since Ron Cantor was 20 years old.
Yeah.
And Michael Brown was a hero to him. And for years, and I kind of choke on the word doctor, and she says doctor every 2 seconds. Dr. Michael Brown. I'm like, I can't do it anymore. But Ron Cantor had been his friend for 40 years. And when he first addressed Michael Brown, he did it in such a kind way. And the response was so awful. And I think your very good friends have approached you. And now you're here with these other friends that don't know, you know, 10 years is new compared to 40 years. Yes. And they do not know the history. They weren't there for it. And so he has found some new people that he can have a clean slate with and talk to them only from his point of view. And they don't know the whole big picture. They tried to talk bad or poorly about Ron Cantor, and he stopped them. Part of the reason he stopped them is because he knows that Ron knows the whole truth. So let's not, it's going to look very humble because he makes his voice that we're not going to talk about Ron. I mean, I might say, oh no, I'm not going to say that either. I'm not going to talk about Ron. And it's just, all of it is so manipulative and so planned. And I just feel like that he has surrounded himself. This is what he has left. The ones that sound like this. Does that make sense? Like, this is what he has left.
Wow. That's a good point.
That's a really good point. And maybe it opens up and we can come back to this, Vanessa, if you have something you want to add, but You said that more or less like this whole conversation was manipulated. I mean, this was carefully scripted.
Mhm.
I think this little 20-second clip kind of proves that. And I'll tell you who this reminds me of. I'm going to play it right now.
She so looked to me when we found some of the earlier notes, so looked to me and honored me as a spiritual dad and as a man of God, that seeing and realizing that I had this inappropriate emotional relationship with another woman, that really hurt her. That's just Nancy's view, that hurt her more than we realized.
Well, as would any daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Deeply. And that
I'm going to play. I'm noticed. Now, listen, Jocko's going to chime in. I'm going to tell you who he reminds me of.
That hurt her more than we realized.
Well, as would any daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Deeply.
Okay. I know what my take is. Any of y'all have a take on that?
Go ahead, Londa.
Let me hear from you guys first.
That was the red wig moment of that interview. Okay.
Yes.
Here, I will go back and I'll play this and I will show you how ridiculous. Listen to this, Mr. Jocko dude. Listen.
That's just Nancy's view, that hurt her more than we realized.
Well, as would any daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Deeply.
Okay. First of all, she's not his daughter. And then Jocko's chiming in as it would any daughter. And the camera's right there to pan that. I'm sorry. That was the red wig moment. That was planned. That was scripted. And guess what, Mike? She ain't your daughter. And she wasn't your daughter.
No.
And if you treated your daughter that way, she'd probably smack you in the face. Wouldn't she?
I was around Michael Brown and his wife and his daughter. And I didn't ever see him hold his wife's hand. I'm not saying that he never did, but they're not overly affectionate people at all. My family, we're huggers. Like when my family gets together, we have to hug 20 people in the room if we're just going to go to the store for 5 minutes. Their family is not like that. So I did not see him hug his wife. I did not see him hug his daughter. So for us that heard that at the time, it was, and I have said that to him. I'm not saying anything that I haven't said to him. I said that to him. I've never seen you hold your wife's hand like that even. So the fact that you're trying to tell me that that's okay is just, it's just a joke in my, I mean, I don't, it's not, I mean, there are other people that I know that if you told me that about them, I might be a little like, well, they are a little like that. Not him. I don't buy it. He would never touch his daughter that way. He would never, and I guarantee you, I know his daughter, and she wouldn't put up with that either. So
that's a good point. Vanessa, how far off am I with the red wig observation?
No. There's a couple of those in there. I was trying to find real quickly because I know you haven't watched my videos, but I said that, not about that one, but that you caught that. That's a red wig moment. And I caught one too. And I just cannot remember off the top of my head what it was, but maybe there is a clip and you'll show it. Or if anybody is out there that saw any of my videos, because I just don't remember.
I did. I watched it too, and I can't remember specifically.
But right when you said that, because one of your videos, and I think it was your appeal to Mike Brown to repent, you made that point. You said he didn't even do that to his daughter. So why do you have this facade and saying, oh, any daughter, this is what we do with daughters, and it's okay. And Heather starts talking about that. Oh, it's really important because my chiropractor told me to, just really just bizarre things, filler, and it doesn't make any sense, but they get away with this.
Yeah.
They've done this before. This is not their first rodeo. And so when you said that he doesn't even do this with his own daughter, I was like, oh my gosh, what a great point.
And his daughter's the same age. His daughter is the same age as Sarah. So when he was talking in that interview, he messed up because he said he was talking about flicking her on her bottom with the back of his hand. And he said, that's something that I used to do to my daughter when she was younger. And then he stopped himself on that last word because when she was younger, because Sarah and his daughter are the same age. Oh. So he didn't do that to his daughter when she was 20. And that's how old Sarah was. So he literally stopped himself when he started to say younger. So that's really what stood out to me. One of those moments. I was like, oops, blooper.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go out. I'm going to ask y'all to go on a limb. I apologize. I said when we set this up, I have watched and followed this, but this particular one with Michael Brown and all, I couldn't rattle off all the details like some things. So there's just so much going on. But let me just ask your opinion. Does he lie during this interview? Does he tell any lies, or is everything that he say is the truth?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
he lies many times. I know whenever Ron Cantor was watching this, he sent a text out on a group text that we have going, and he said something like, I literally just counted 10 lies within the first 5 minutes of this. So yeah, and he also does it in a way that there's just a lot of half truths. You were talking about the way they set things up. And like the first time I met with him, the way he started the meeting was, so what have you heard? And now, I was young. I was 30 years old when we were having that meeting. I'm 56 now. And I was just, now I think back on it and I'm like, that's such a manipulative tactic, because he wants to know what I know. And he's done this through the entire process. Whatever you know, that's as far as he'll admit to. But in my case, when he met with me, he outright lied and said none of it ever happened. And at one point, I wish I had the clip. At one point in this, he's talking about, I think it's where he's talking about swatting her on the bottom. And he says, it never happened. And then in a minute, he talks about it happening. But he said, his hand gestures, the way he did it, I was like, that's exactly what he did in the meeting I was in on, where he just said it never happened. But he actually says that. So, and then in a minute, he's like, well, I did, and I'm like, oh, you're not doing well.
Vanessa, in your opinion, does Mr. Brown lie during this interview at all?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Londa's going to be able to give us a better rendition of each and every one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go through it for that purpose. I wanted to hear what he had to say. There were some things I did make comments. Mostly what I notice about him is he's very good at twisting the truth.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that there are different ways to lie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can make an omission. It could be a lie. You can twist the truth, just the way that you say things. It could be misleading. He's a master at a couple of different things. He can outright lie, just like he did to Londa. None of that ever happened, right? That's the first thing. And then when he's confronted on this, so he has to decide some things he has to concede to, which he has. But some things, the kiss on the lips, never. And then, just attacking credibility. We already know that there's a couple of people that saw him have Sarah on his lap. And then he's like, that never happened.
Let me speak to that. Can I speak to that real quick about the lap? I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you have more to say? Okay. No. So the thing about sitting on the lap, he says that this was a disgruntled person. And I want to say to you, I know both of these people very well that saw this. The girl who saw this happening, we have an email that she sent to Mike Brown, like, I can't remember the year, but it's a few years ago. And she sent that, and she says in this email, I was there when she sat on your lap and kissed your cheek. And he doesn't go and refute that point in this email. So, if that didn't happen, I feel like in that email, he would have said, what are you talking about? But he doesn't. And and why would she put that in an email to him that nobody else was going to see? This wasn't when she was speaking out publicly about it. This is her addressing him. And then the other lie in that is he says that no one ever brought this up from 2002 until 2020. Well, her email was like 2016 or something. We have proof that through the years, people have brought this up to him, including me. So That's just another lie. I mean, I could literally, if we sat here listening to the whole thing together, I could literally be like, that's not true. That's not true. Like that. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You might be able to make the same kind of observation about Cindy Clemenshire, that, there'd be a period of time where it looked like she wasn't saying anything. I think at the end of the day, she's getting the last word. We're going to, if it's okay, ladies, we're going to go a little bit different direction for a bit, and then we'll come back to this riveting and exciting interview. I would just like to, if y'all would help me talk about this. I'm kind of springing this on you, but not completely. I titled this episode, this video, Whatcha, Hidin, Heather. And I have it on good authority that I spelled Whatcha correctly. But here's the reason I titled it that is, this is asking a question. That's all that I am doing. But the minute that I heard that in this video, Heather had said, if you want to be an advocate for a real victim, I just thought it sounded to me, and I don't know if this is the case or not, it kind of sounds like somebody that's been through something that they think is way worse than what Sarah or somebody else in this situation went through. And by golly, if I can suck it up and if I can tough it out, then you're just a wimp, and you need to just shut up, tough it out, and be like me, because you're not a real victim. But the reason I went there is in 2006, Landon Schott was youth pastor at World Harvest Church. That would have been youth pastor that got in front of, that would have been in those days, the youth group then would have been about the size of the whole church now. But, and all of a sudden, in other words, what I'm saying is that'd be a gig that a lot of guys in youth ministry would like to have. But in the middle of the night, they were gone. They're there one day, gone the next. Why would that happen? Would either of y'all hazard a guess, or if we were trying to figure it out, what kind of questions would we ask? I'll start with you, Vanessa. What questions would you ask?
Questions. I mean, something happened. I mean, I don't know if she worked there. I do believe she did work there, right? Am I right in saying that, Everett?
I don't know.
I ain't sure, but she was there on the premises some during there. The people that I've talked, I don't know. Some people have said she worked in like the executive or A wing or whatever, and other people aren't so sure. But she would have, it's not like she was never on the premises. She was on the premises, but that's all that we can confirm, that I can confirm.
I think we'd all like to know, well, did his leaving have anything to do with an NDA? I mean, what happened here? And we did hear her later, and I'll let you talk about that and just set that up. But that was my inclination and thought. Something happened, because she's trying to posture this whole, attack as if it's coming from somewhere. And it appears to be coming from an experience. And she does say, oh, we've been through something. So what have you been through? She doesn't share that. I think that was intentional. She doesn't share it. But we know that there's something going on in the background. Go ahead, Everett.
Let me just say this. Carol West, who is a survivor and a very strong young woman of God that suffered horrendous. Carol, thank you for being on here. Oh my goodness. But Carol said, and she ran the nursery and children's ministry. Okay. So Heather had responsibilities there. She had responsibilities there. I don't know if she worked in any executive or A-wings or anything like that, but Carol is Carol's in a place that she would know. Right. So let me just put my cards on the table and y'all interpret them. Okay. These are my leaves of tea or whatever. Tell me if I'm wrong, ladies, but if they left in the middle of the night with no explanation, and the people that worked with them, the youth leaders, I talked to one a few days ago that was very tight, very close, in the trenches together, and then boom, their fearless leader is gone. Don't call them, don't talk to them. You're not allowed to know what happened. So I can only think of about 3 scenarios. Number one, they did something horribly wrong and they scooted out of town before they got caught. I kind of doubt that. That'd be a possibility. The other would be they saw some stuff that freaked them out that they didn't want to be close to. They saw some icky, nasty stuff and wanted to get away from that immediately. And number three, something could have happened to either one of them. Was one of them abused? Was Heather abused? Was Landon? But something happened. There's some reason they were gone in the middle of the night.
Mhm.
Am I missing something here?
No, something happened.
Doesn't she allude to that at some point? I'm trying to remember. I listened to this thing 4 times, y'all.
Oh,
She does.
She says
does,
something about she's like, if you want to know what it's like for a pastor to, I could tell you a story or something like that. If I'm remembering what she says correctly, it's something like that.
And I think it's the one clip I forgot to grab. But it happens about 5 minutes after the Be a Real Victim. And she said, all right, 15 years, 20 years, da-da-da. And she says something to the effect of, you know what? It was clergy abuse. And I forgave.
Yeah. Talking about what happened to her. Yeah.
So I just want to go back to the title. Heather, what you hiding? Because it looks like you're hiding something. It looks like something happened. Now, either y'all were kind of guilty of something and you didn't want to draw no attention to it. I kind of doubt that, but maybe. Or you saw some really horrible, nasty stuff and you wanted to get away from it. Or maybe some stuff was even done to one of you two. But I don't remember you've just covered it up. I mean, Vanessa, I feel like you're the judge in this matter. You're the judge. Am I looking at this wrong?
No, you're looking at this entirely correct. I mean, I thought that too. When I was going through this, I knew, but I didn't. Here's the thing with that, because I am a victim's advocate. So as soon as she started talking about that, I was like, oh, she's been through something. And I'm not going to call somebody out. And not that we are, we're not changing that stance, but it does need to be addressed, because it appears that this is the basis of what it appears that she perceives herself to have gotten over it. And remember, it's her platform. She's got the podcast and nobody else can have the podcast. Listen to her. She forgave. And so it's almost like, how dare you to not? Because look at me. I'm so successful. I have a platform and everybody listens to me. And you should do the same thing. We don't know what happened to her. She doesn't even share that. But it's just that arrogant demeanor and stance that she has. It's really, it just violates everybody's ability to have their own perception, their own experience, and to process it in their own way. She tries to remove that from everybody.
And she assumes that Sarah hasn't forgiven.
Right.
And that's not true. Sarah's not out for vengeance. She's not out. She is out for the truth. And Sarah is very disturbed at how many people have been hurt through this. And she thinks about other people more than she actually thinks about herself right now. And she doesn't like to be called a victim, because she says she can, they made a point of Ron saying he had to convince her he was a victim. She was a victim. That's not what Ron meant. It's that she knew those things went on and she couldn't put words to it of what happened to her. And so, but even then she's like, I have a really hard time with that word. And then she was like, well, I do know I was a victim, but I'm not a victim anymore. So she actually has walked through forgiveness and things like that. So even Heather's commentary was made to, and it's that same old thing of putting the responsibility on the victim instead of the one who's done the damage. It's the same old thing. I remember, I won't go too far into this, but in my own experience, having been abused, 2 ladies came to our church. They were in to inner healing. After the service, they took me in a room. I was like 16 years old. They take me in a room and they want me to pretend that my stepdad's standing there and say to him what I want to. And then the whole rest of the time is they're telling me, you need to forgive him. You need to forgive him. You need to forgive him. And then I'm finally just like, okay, I forgive him. I mean, what do you want me to say? I'm 16 years old and I still have to live with this person. And they're like, and then you just need to go home and walk in that forgiveness and pray for him. So all the responsibilities put off on me for what needs to happen. And that's the same attitude that Heather's having. It doesn't matter that Michael Brown did that stuff to you. You just need to get over it and heal. And I don't even understand why you're bringing it up. It's not that bad. It's just so dismissive. And it does, kind of going back to something Vanessa said, it does make me wonder, has she truly been healed and truly forgiven? Because that edge and that being angry just makes you think, what is boiling under the surface actually? Because this right here should not be making you that mad, and certainly not towards Sarah. It's just so strange. So,
but yeah, she's not done addressing Sarah directly, but I'm gonna going back to World Harvest. We know something happened at the Honorable Rod Parsley's church that we heard a little bit from a clip in the beginning. And I want to play a clip of somebody from World Harvest, and then I'm going to ask both of y'all if it sounds like the person in the clip really has the victory.
Some of you came and you ate and you left your dung, and you've done nothing to reinvest in the vision.
Just so you know, that's who we're talking about. And then here's the clip that really...
We say it all the time. Let go and let God. Yeah. Let go and let God. Some of you need to say out loud, I forgive blank. Right, I forgive my mom. I forgive my dead granddad. I forgive my aunt. I forgive my sister. I forgive the person that sexually abused me when I was 8 years old. I forgive that boyfriend that raped me.
Does that really sound like victory to either one? I mean, I feel like men are shallow and you can't, please react to that if you don't mind, one of y'all.
And that's Rod Parsley's daughter, correct?
Yes, it is.
Speaking, yeah. So
another one with a tone, so specific. I was 8 years old, and people don't. I don't know. It's just bizarre. They're all very strange people, aren't they?
Well, and I'm just going to say the way that I heard Heather's remarked, it's almost like you're saying, look, we're all moving up. It's like, hey, I went through Harvey Weinstein's office and look at me now. I'm in the movies. Yeah. Shut up and, get your casting couch thing done and then move on and shut up. If you need to hit pause and get a little bit of healing, do it, but hurry up because we're running out of time.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I say things that other people wouldn't say. So I don't know but something happened. So I'm just going to say this, Mr. and Mrs. Schott, what happened? What happened? We're going to come back to that. So let's do okay. We're going to get back to this interview. This was kind of a weird, surprising turn.
Can I jump in for just 1 second?
Absolutely.
I don't want to.
Jocko will keep. He will keep.
I don't want to talk over you, but just thinking about her and the way she's even speaking about Sarah, and they're opening this, what is it, like a shelter for trafficking victims? Yeah. And I'm like, is that how they're going to be treated? I mean, are you going to look at them and say, you know what? You just say this little prayer, you need to be healed, and don't talk about that anymore. We're moving up. Let's hit the pause button so that you're healed. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are layers and layers and layers when you've been through like the kind of abuse like I've gone through. And I can't, like, the people that have been so dismissive, like, okay, you're healed, you need to just move on with life. I'm like, I now at my age, I have been healed and I have forgiven, but I'm always going to speak out. I'm always going to be a voice for this. I'm always going to be a voice for the voiceless. And I'm going to tell people it's okay if you're hurting right now, and Jesus can heal you. And it might take some time, honey, and it might take your whole life. But to just be so dismissive, like you need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and get on with life, is ridiculous. And I hope that those people that are going to be coming to that shelter are going to be treated better than that. So
I doubt that. I just got a text from Elizabeth Davis today, and she showed me the picture. They were breaking ground for it or putting it. Oh, that just sank my heart. And I talked about that in my videos too, because Jocko makes the statements, again, you know, there's no real victims getting prosecution in this country, which is bizarro world. Okay.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Prosecutors, investigators, detectives, none of them are doing their job, right? According to him, because he knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it going to look like for these poor individuals? And I even make that plea, I think by the time I was at the last video, I mean, I was practically begging people, please do not have anything to do with his alleged sex trafficking ministry. You can go online, you can look them up. There are so many not-for-profits that have extremely good ratings. Please don't go to his, don't go to hers. Please consider not going to that church anymore. If this is how they are treating victims, what are they going to do to these people that are coming in to that ministry? Because Jocko, through his own admission, he says that anybody that prosecutes, all they're doing is using you. So what is it that you're doing at that shelter or whatever it is, the house? Are you going to help them to prosecute the offenders? Because he just said that, this is what he said in that video. He said, look at the Sean Combs case. The victims don't want to show up because they don't want to be used. He talks about Virginia Guthrie, who, as you know, was one of the main victims of Jeffrey Epstein. And says nobody cared about her. They were all using her. How do you know that, Edwig? I'm sorry. I mean, like, this is unbelievable. And by the way, Everett, just so you know, I did find the other reference to Anna Kendall. But yeah, it's ludicrous. It's beyond comprehensive.
Well, yeah, and I tell you, this trafficking thing they're building, just even the controversy that you go through, the nasty. Why are you trying to do something that I think would take an incredible amount of toughness, but incredible amounts of kindness
and compassion?
And sometimes I don't hear pick up on any of that stuff.
Not at all.
None.
I want to make one point about Jocko and Josepho, and then maybe what we'll do is go to her closing moments, because at the end of this thing, she talks directly to Sarah, and I'm going to hold my comments on that. Let's play a little bit of this and see what we want to find. Come on, there we go. All right.
And sorry, I'm being verbose, but because
yes,
of this,
you are.
A spirit was released into this nation to destroy this nation. That spirit happened to find a home by a particular political class that we call the left. Okay? That spirit, we called it cancel culture. It's actually a spirit of death.
Yeah.
It is to brand and mark somebody and deem them unworthy of the redemption of Jesus Christ. Cancel to death.
Yep.
Very good friend of mine, Nick Vujicic, no arms, no legs, gets a phone call from his bank and they say, you've got 72 hours. And we take.
Okay, to move it along, can we just talk about this a little bit? This is what he sounded like to me. He sounded like he had to prepare for this, and he called up Joseph Z and said, hey, what do I say?
I think you're right.
No, you know what I'm saying? Well, let's see if okay. Now listen to this. Here we go.
So we need to talk about a demon spirit that is now cloaking itself because woke is being destroyed. And so this demon spirit is pivoting off of that and beginning to go in another direction.
Okay, we're trying to move this along, but did y'all hear that? Jocko says this woke and whatnot, and then Trump got elected, and so it came back and it's morphed into it's going through the church. Well, that's exactly what Joseph said, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Joseph says we're all going to become anti-Semitic. Those of us who speak out are going to be anti-Semitic. So I still love Israel.
We all love Israel. What I'm
Yes.
saying is this guy's a plagiarist.
Mm-hmm.
He's a false prophet plagiarist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a false prophet, can't you at least come up with your own material? Or what do you, or at the coven, do they just dole it out? I mean, seriously, it's, Vanessa, help me out here. He's saying that they're talking off the same playbook, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And they're watching other podcasts, right? Because they're so offended at podcasts, but we already know they watch podcasts, right?
Right.
So they watched Joseph Z. And they're like, that's good. Let's read.
Who has what? A podcast.
That's what, well, that was a good one, Joseph Z. We're going to use
so
that.
they didn't have to like get his permission or anything. It's like, okay, let's do this. Maybe we're at 1 hour and 16 minutes. I'll call that 1 hour. Or 1 hour and 16 seconds. Sorry. Thank you for calling me out on that and correcting the record. At the end of this thing, the lovely and gracious and demure and gentle Heather Schott speaks directly to Sarah for about 3 minutes. And fair usage means that, we'll have to defend the copyright strike that is bound to come. Because we're just here because we're wait, Vanessa, are you built, by the way, how's your empire building going?
The empire building. Isn't that what they do? Everything that they accuse everybody else of doing is what they're doing. Their empire. It's called mercy culture, right? Isn't it?
And they've even got a network. They're trying to build a little denomination, it looks like, but we won't get lost. So anyway, we'll have to stop and talk to combat fair usage. So just be prepared. But here is her loving, heartfelt, gracious. Wait, let's do this. This would be a good thing to do. Wait, let me do this. I know I'm all over the map. I am all over the map. I don't even have a map. Your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair, gold jewelry, or fine clothes, but from the inner disposition of your heart, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in God's sight. Okay, so let me get rid of Joseph, and then we'll zero in on. And ladies, thank you very much. This was didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare as usual, and you guys are just taking it all in stride. So we're going to get to the gentle and quiet spirit that is on exhibition in Heather's message to Sarah.
And I'm just going to close with this message to Sarah and her family and the other woman's husband and family. And this is important for me with a personal relationship with Dr. Michael Brown, my husband and I both. And I felt I was just supposed to testify to you. I'm sure as many witchcraft words as Dr. Brown has heard, as we have heard, you have also heard. And these may bear weight with you, they may not. But I just felt like I was supposed to send this message to you. I don't know you, and you don't know.
That's pretty loving and kind, as many witchcraft words.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a stab at that? Okay.
She's talking to me, where I'm part of the witchcraft words. I can't even think of a response for that right now because it makes me so angry because I know the conversations that have been had in this situation. I know the loving.
It's convos. It's a convo.
Oh, sorry. The combos that we've had have been loving, caring, gracious. I can't even, she has no idea what she's talking about. She literally just has no idea what she's talking about. And I would like to speak to her and tell her that in none of our conversations have we asked for the crucifixion of Michael Brown. Not one, because she says that we're saying crucify him, crucify. And also what I do want to say to her is he is not Jesus.
Oh,
he's not Jesus. When they were saying crucify him to Jesus, he was sinless. There was no reason to be yelling, crucify him, when Jesus was hanging on the cross. No one is calling for the crucifixion of Michael Brown, but he is not the spotless lamb that Jesus was.
He can't even admit that Sarah was abused.
Right. Right.
Vanessa, keep going, or do you have a witchcraft response to?
Well, before she says that about the witchcraft words, she's talking to Sarah, and she says, "I want to testify to you." What does that mean? Heather, does not have personal knowledge of what went on. The only one that can testify to any of these things are the people that were involved, Sarah in this instance, and Michael Brown. But she wants to testify to Sarah. I thought that was quite bold, inappropriate. If I was Sarah, I would take that like, what are you talking about? Testify to me how? That there were witchcraft words used against me? Heather, it's clear. Heather is getting her information from Michael Brown, just like, in Daystar. How did Joni Lamb, with all of the things that she was saying at the start of it, she was taking the position, she was getting her information from Pete. She wasn't there. Well, Heather, you weren't there either. You can't testify to Sarah.
The only observation that I have is a question. Is she a witch?
Is Heather a witch?
Yes.
It's a good question.
Let's keep playing.
Know me, but I do know Dr. Michael Brown. And I've had many long, authentic conversations, and I have asked all of the hard questions for months and months and months with him. And he has never said anything behind closed doors to demean you, to tear you down, to exploit you, to hurt you. He has only described his behavior as completely disgusting, wept in godly sorrow like it was yesterday over his past sin, and wanted the very absolute best for you and your family. I can't tell you how many times that he said, we can't share this, just like when he shut me down and asking a question about.
If he wanted the very best for her and his family, why is it so hard to admit that, no, dude, this was clergy sexual abuse? There was an uneven balance of power. You stepped over the line, and that's what it is. It wasn't. And who wants to take that?
Well, they all do it. They contradict themselves. So she says that Michael Brown's describing his actions as completely disgusting and calling it sin. You say that out of one side of your mouth, but on the other, they are minimizing it and not admitting fully what's happening here. So which is it? It makes it very confusing, and I don't think this is intentional. This is how they handle things, because in order to get people to agree with them, to believe them, they throw out these words. It's almost like, we say this in law, an attorney, they just throw the spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks with all the arguments. Both sides can do it. The plaintiff side, the defense side, it's just something that happens. What I see that's consistent with Heather and all these other people, they just throw these words out. Michael Brown does it a lot. It's like, yeah. And it's these cool words, he thinks it's cool, like convo, for Heather, but Mike Bickle did it too. It's like when Michael Brown was talking about, he got into contact with Julie Royce and said that there was an issue that he wanted her to retract something, and that, we shared, so, that there is a way forward in this. It's just the choice words. I think it's condescending. It's very intentional, and it's there to make them seem like they're the good guy, and they're the ones that are being so honest and so upright.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, she's going to move into, I'm sorry. I can dance around that. She's going to get very threatening before too long here. I'm going to let her play.
Today. He is a good and godly man that loves his wife, his family, the house of God, the word of God. Most importantly, he is a man that loves the Lord. And I believe all of you are being preyed upon by men that want to get at him, to exploit not just him, to exploit not just you, but the church and church leadership. And so today I'm asking that you would take a pause.
Okay,
that
wait.
you
I
would
just
pause and pray
oh,
and
I'm
ask
having
something
trouble
we
with
do
this.
in our house.
It's the Windows 10, 11 thing. Any reaction to that? Because this next thing I know, I'm going to want to comment. Anything with what you just heard?
It's a relief to take a pause from that. Absolutely. It is a relief to take a pause from that. That is, I just.
She says people that they're preyed upon by men. That was an intentional word, by men. So she's taking Sarah out of it. So I think that who she's talking to right here is Ron Cantor.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's what they've decided, is that ringleader, and that he's the one that's preying upon men and exploiting not only the church but church leaders. Bring that nexus in, Heather, because I can't find it. So, you know, Sarah had already gone to Julie Roy's before Ron Cantor was even involved, is my understanding.
Absolutely.
So
she had. I'm the one actually that gave Ron Cantor Sarah's phone number. I'm the one who gave him her phone number. We were already in touch with Sarah. And yes, we had all of us had already spoken to the Royce report. And Ron asked if he could speak to Sarah. He texted me and asked me that. And I said, I'll ask Sarah. And I asked Sarah and I said, and, you know, I just said, I think he has very good intentions. I talked to her like that. And he spoke with Sarah. And when he did, it's like the bottom fell out of his world. Because if you hear her voice, she's not ready to go on camera or to speak out publicly yet. She's, you know, that's different than speaking to the Royce report.
Right.
But if you hear her voice and hear what she has to say, any doubt leaves your mind. I mean, she has consistently told her story, and the only thing she ever added was that he kissed her on the mouth. I'm going to tell you, like, even in my instance, there are times that I think of something else and I tell my mom. So I think that it's ridiculous to use that as a reason to disbelieve her or to say that someone else convinced her that something happened. But yes, I'm the one who gave Ron her phone number and got them in contact. So,
and for Heather to say that Sarah's story has changed because of that, that establishes and demonstrates that Heather is not an appropriate person to deal with victims of SA.
That's right. That's right. And Sarah had already told that part. Like you said, she had already told that part. So
she doesn't understand the gradients. She doesn't understand what it's like to be a victim. She doesn't understand any of it. And I question whether Jocko does.
Yeah, she does. She knows where the pause button is. Come on, Vanessa.
It's here.
I'm sorry. I'm being, yeah.
It's true though.
It's completely tone deaf. Okay.
Yes.
Now I think I'm listening for a threat.
Something we do in our house every single day and with our kids is the prayer that Samuel prayed. And we just simply say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. I would encourage you, quiet the noise, quiet the opinions, maybe even consecrate yourself from a time that you're not taking any phone calls. You're not hearing everybody's opinions and what they think you should do next and how you should share a story or what platforms. Don't listen to any of it. Turn off.
I got to take this one. Who is she to tell Sarah to do anything? And then she is saying, take time aside and don't listen to anybody. Well, you're expecting her to listen to you, Heather. You are so inconsistent. This caustic, mean-spirited, just nails on a chalkboard of a voice lady. Shut up. You don't have it. You want to talk about authority. You ain't got no authority to tell Sarah to take I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this.
No, I get it.
all of the noise off for a season that you feel, a week, whatever you feel is a time.
Y'all, let me say this and please say something. For a season that you feel, shut up, Heather, we're not buying it. No, you want her to take time off for a season that you feel. You're telling her what to feel. I think she's done listening to people like you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sarah's surrounded by people, it seems, that are supporting of her. Why would she ever turn to someone like Heather Shott? First of all, why does Heather think that Sarah would ever even listen to her? She didn't reach out to her to try to get her side. No. She's there to defend Michael Brown because he's a godly man. He loves his family. He loves his wife. He loves God. And we have been a friend of his for years. So you've set that stage, and you never once said that you tried to get in touch with Sarah and have a heart to heart. But she's going to have the audacity to sit there on her chair, on her little perch, and testify to Sarah and tell her what it is that she should and shouldn't do. It's atrocious.
Also because he's a teacher at their school, and they're about to open this center for let's say the word, I can't even think right now, but they're about to open that center, and it would be very embarrassing for you know what I'm saying?
If I were them, they should be embarrassed.
Yeah, they should be very embarrassed.
I will keep playing this. But the threat is coming. I'm telling you, there's a threat coming.
Of consecration to set yourself apart for the Lord and to hear from him. And I know he is going to speak. I know he is going to tell you the right thing to do, not what's right in your eyes, not what's.
Okay. I'm sorry, ladies. Witch, shut up. You're talking like a witch. You're going to set yourself down. You're going to do what I told you to do, but you're going to be telling yourself that you're the one that told yourself to do that. But it's really me telling yourself to do that. And when you do, I'm telling you, you're the word of the Lord. I talked to Joseph Z. Who's going to speak to you. She's talking like a witch.
Yeah, she has some similarities with Catherine Crick. I just picked up on that right there.
Yes. I literally got the chills when you said that. Yeah.
This and I cease and desist me all you like. I got a stack of those. This I'm telling you, this kind of manipulative, coercive. This is Heather. This is witchcraft. That's what you're doing, sweet cheeks. It's witchcraft, and we ain't buying it.
Anybody else's eyes, but righteousness is that which is right in God's eyes. And I know if you seek out righteousness, that which is right in the Lord's eyes, he's going to speak to you. He's going to encounter you. I would encourage you.
I'm sorry, ladies, this isn't fair, but I'm pretty sure that 1 John 2:27 says, but the anointing that you have received abides in you, and you don't need Heather Shott to teach you.
That's right. But they haven't gotten that memo because they're still of the mindset that they are going to mesmerize the masses. They're not getting it. That's the memo right now, people. We are calling it out. I mean, it's not just us. There are probably thousands of podcasters that are doing this, or not even on YouTube. Yeah. There are probably so many people that have been doing this for a long time. I'm with this. I'm the newest one probably at this.
I'm newer than you.
Well, she's newer. She's just getting started in the empire building business.
Yes. If you would like to donate to my empire,
your life to be on full view in front of everybody, coming after a godly man. Hear it from me that somebody that loves.
Okay, now listen. This is where the witch. I said it. And y'all associate those remarks with me. Vanessa didn't say that. Londa didn't say that. This is talking like a witch. Manipulation is what y'all don't have to agree. I'm a big boy. But I'm gonna back this up a little bit and listen to the threat that she's gonna give.
I would encourage you. You do not want your life to be on full view in front of everybody, coming after a godly man. Hear it from me that somebody that loves, admires him, knows him personally, and then is a spiritual leader.
That's a threat.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You do not want
Mhm.
the wrath of God. I mean, you do not want who starts with that?
Mhm. Who does? And Sarah is a strong woman, and she is not stupid. And Heather makes it sound like she's stupid and
Right.
doesn't know what she's talking about. Why do you think it's taken Sarah so long? Because she does fear the Lord. And all of us were taught up to here that you don't touch God's anointed. So she has been afraid to even think anything was wrong because that was the man of God. And Sarah is in her right mind. She is a strong woman. She's not weak. She is making her own decisions about this, and we have been here to support her. She is the one who wanted to speak out. She was glad to hear from all of us. She was relieved to finally get this out, something that she's carried for so long and felt guilty about, by the way. So, no, that was a threat. And I'm going to tell you, so Sarah is surrounded by people who are protecting her and loving her. She has a good therapist. She's got good people around her. And we will protect her from those words that were spoken right
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
And we've prayed over her and broken that stuff that was said, by the way. That is, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So, Heather, your little word curse ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna,
She's
I'm gonna
not
back
scared.
this up.
We're here all day, Heather.
I want folks and listen. Maybe we'll do this. And y'all, I appreciate. And listen, there are some things that I say that maybe Vanessa or Londa or any other guest that I have what say. My words belong to me. I'll stand by them. Okay, so y'all are off the hook. This is witchcraft talking here. I know I'm not saying.
No,
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, this is
I
witchcraft
agree.
talking. And I would say to the audience here, tell me if you don't pick up on somebody that tries to rule their little roost with fear. And Heather, darling, we ain't scared of you, okay? Ain't scared
Encounter
of
you. I would encourage you. You do not want your life to be on full view in front of everybody coming
She knows what she wants, Heather. She doesn't need you to tell her what she wants.
after a godly man. Hear it from me that somebody that loves, admires him, knows him personally, and then is a spiritual leader.
I wanted to zero in on that, and is a spiritual leader.
Take it from me. Take it from me. We're not. We were
Sweet cheeks, sweet cheeks, sweet cheeks. You ain't leading me. You ain't leading me. I don't know who you're leading in your little fantasy world. Okay. Maybe you got people. I'm saying this kind of stuff, folks. This kind of talk is abhorrent to me.
It is to me
You got to
too.
call yourself a leader. You're no more a leader than Castro or Hitler or David Koresh. I mean it. I'm a leader. You need to listen to me because I'm me and I'm important. And the reason you know I'm important is because I just told you I'm important.
Exactly. That's exactly what she just did.
She's a bully. She's a bully. I didn't know we would go here, but we did.
It's
All right, let's
true
keep going.
though.
She's threatening. She's threatening. Look at that. About that cat. That cat's about ready to pounce.
You do not want your life to be known as taking down a righteous, good man that loves his wife and loves the Lord. And so I hope and pray for absolute healing in you and your family. We will continue to pray for you and your family. To everybody else, thank you for...
Y'all, we might be at the end here, but I want to say that kind of talk is absolutely unacceptable.
It's no different than what Michael Brown's wife said to me whenever I met with them, which she looked at me and said, "You're going to bring his whole ministry down." And I said, "No, ma'am, he's going to bring his whole ministry down." And so to say that it is the victim who's going to bring the ministry down is absolutely ridiculous. What's going to bring it down is minimizing, slapping a female's bottom who is, I don't care if she was related to him, not related to, I don't care if he was a spiritual daughter to her. I've said many times, it makes it worse. If you're saying she was like a spiritual daughter to you and then you slapped her on her bottom, that's even grosser. Like it makes it worse. It doesn't make it better. And I'm just disgusted. And I was thinking about, I'll say this very quickly, but I was watching a little clip today of a football game, and the quarterback kept getting hit after the play. And it was the same guy that, like, the play would be over and the guy would just hit him and then hit him and hit him.
Yeah.
It was actually Patrick Mahomes that was getting hit. And all of a sudden he just rose up and he started, and I mean, they were behind like 17-0 when this was going on. And that guy was just, he was getting in his head, you know.
Yeah.
And then Patrick Mahomes rose up and he started going, I'm here all day. I'm here all day. I'm here all day. And that has just gone through my head this whole day. And it's like, that's what I want to say to Heather and to Michael Brown and to Robert Morris and any of these other guys out here, to Rod Parsley, whoever it is. We're here all day. We're not going anywhere. I'm here all day. And I've risen up. I will not come under that witchcraft spirit ever again. When that pastor, when I was a little girl, looked at my mom and said, you need to go home and forgive him and pray for him, and God hates divorce, that is like, I was silenced. And when this stuff happened and I began to speak out on behalf of her, I have been let loose, and I feel the anointing of God on me, and I will not back up. And so I just want to say again, I'm here all day. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here all day.
So good. So I think we are too.
Yep. We have risen up there, and there's an army. It's not just I'm here all day. Sarah's here all day. You guys are here all day. We're not budging. Like, your words that you had did not make us go, maybe I shouldn't be speaking out. No, it did the absolute opposite. I know myself, it propelled me forward, and I'm not going to shut up.
Don't you think her message should have been to Sarah before the Firefly report came out? I mean, it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Telling her, why are you testifying to her and giving her the sage advice now? Why are you doing that now, Heather?
Why haven't you ever spoken to her? And like I said, she said she would speak to him. Why didn't they speak to her?
Go ahead, Everett.
Well, I just, the way I see it is, she is telling Sarah, shut up. You shut up. I'm a leader. I'm going to couch it in these words. You get it off, and in other words, you do what I'm telling you to do. And then I'm telling you that God's going to say this to you. What are you sending a spell there, Heather, darling? Are you sending an incantation her way or something? But anyway, just bottom line is, we ain't buying it, Mrs. Shot. We're not. I'm not buying it, and it's so blatantly obvious. We've seen you before. You're nothing new. You're nothing fresh. You're just a new paste over of a new face of a same old trick, and we ain't falling for it. That's what I had to say, Vanessa.
And the play is over. Don't come and punch Sarah now. I mean, the play is over.
Right.
We're not going anywhere.
If I could, I'm going to close. We need to close, and I need to let y'all get on with your lives. But I want to let me make a summary statement, and then it's really rude, but I'm going to ask both of y'all to react to it. This is going back to my title. So Sarah or Heather in there says, if you want to be an advocate for a real victim. And then about 5 minutes later, the clip that I did not grab, where she says, okay, I'll just tell you, I was clergy abused, and I forgave. I want to pick up from that moment if I can. I don't know if that happened at World Harvest, Heather, but something happened at World Harvest. And I can tell you that the year y'all left, the year before, 2005, a young woman who from the age of younger than 14 for about 4 years was every kind of essay and severity that you can think of. And that was brought to Rod Parsley's attention. And he would not meet with her, would not help her get closure, just swept it under the rug. And the perpetrator, Heather, A year later, we have it on good authority, impregnated a 17-year-old. You didn't speak up. I know, or I believe, while you were there, you saw some stuff because you couldn't hardly be there in that environment and not see stuff. And so I forgave. Maybe that works for you. Maybe that's the advice you'd give to somebody that had been Harvey Weinsteined. But guess who it didn't work for? It didn't work for that 17-year-old that was abused. Mm-hmm. It didn't work for Carol West that was able to put a comment on in this program just a few moments ago. You did nothing that we know about to uncover the seething cauldron of evil that still exists there. So, Heather, I don't see why we should be taking your advice about any of this stuff. If any of y'all have a reaction, I would love to hear it.
I 100% agree. And I think it's so good that we got together and did this, because there's a lot to go through in that video. There's a lot. And I know I've shared that with both of you guys outside of this. And you could go over it again and find more. Yeah, there's something I'll share after, because I did find something and I want to just bring it back up. But no, I agree with everything you just said. It's really heartbreaking, and it's going to take time to process too, because you know what? The people that are at risk right now are those that are still going to that church. But if you looked at any of the comments from that video, there's a couple of them that I read on one of my videos, and there was one that was cited in the Julie Roy's report by Rebecca Hopkins. And it was somebody who had been there and said, because of what she just saw, she or he, I'm not quite sure, that person wasn't going to be a part of mercy culture anymore.
Yes.
Because that really turned off. I can't imagine that people aren't waking up. I mean, if you're a part of that church, whether online there's got to be something that speaks to you in this. And I think talking about this more and more like we are, I mean, it was very depressing for me when I was going that 3.5 hour video. It really was. And people were on my videos. They were commenting and they were like, I couldn't get through that video. And
it's demonic. It's literally demonic, in my opinion.
I've never done a video like that where people kept saying, I just couldn't watch it. And then I'm like, well, I'm glad I watched it for you so I can share this. But you know what? I'm not even uncovering everything, because there's more today that people like Londa, people like Everett, that they have shared and seen. And any of you folks that do have a stomach for it, that can watch it, you're going to find stuff in there as well that we didn't pick up on. That's just how it works. And we help each other, find truth and process this, not telling each other what it is, but you just, it's almost unbelievable. So you have to kind of sit back and sift and think, did I just see what I thought I saw? There's a lot of that going on, because it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Londa, do you have a last word, or have you spoken it already?
I think my last word was, I'm here all day, and I'll just say it again.
We're at an hour 33. So I want to say thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Londa. In the description, which I'll put together within mere moments of us closing out, you want to find Vanessa's program. You want to find Londa's program. I'll put links in the description box. Folks, pray about what you heard. And I'm telling you, just remember, the anointing you've received abides in you, and you need not that any man teach you. It's always good to get teaching from somebody, but there's no one person that you need to receive from. And I'm sorry, I'm just telling it like I see it. You sure don't need the lady that we featured tonight. That's not a voice you need to be listening to. Vanessa, thank you. Londa, I'm going to say God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio. And God bless us, the United States of America. Good night, y'all.